Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Blinkety Bloop.
I'm Drew D'Amelia.
And I'm Nick Padula.
And we just got back, actually, from rehearsing some of our music. And actually, I should explain, in case you didn't know, this is a podcast where we talk about recent movies that are out in theaters, and the podcast is called Blinkety Bloop, as you know, but also Blinkety Bloop is the name of our band where we make incredible music, and we were just rehearsing, weren't we, Nick?
We were. I think it was a pretty successful rehearsal. I wish there were people there to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be able to concentrate, though, you know what I mean?
It's good not to have, pressure from outsiders, watching you.
Yeah, and
we had the whole place to ourselves, pretty much.
Which is great, and usually we don't have to worry about pressures like that, which is pretty nice. We were working on some old material, nothing new yet, but it's good. My vocal cords are a little bit fried, so I guess we shouldn't rehearse before podcasting, but that's just how it goes. I don't know how your vocal cords hold up so much better than mine.
It's the years of vocal training.
I know, but I've also had years of vocal training. I don't know. You were given a really good pair of vocal cords, I guess. That's all we can say.
I have my parents to thank for that, I suppose.
That's true. But, I just because my voice is a little fried, I still have good vocal cords, I think. Anyway, I guess before we begin, we should announce a contest that we have decided to set up. As you have probably heard, we are looking for social media for Blinkety Bloop, the band, not the podcast. Because with all this confusion of Blinkety Bloop being two different things, we want to make sure that we can let people know, hey, we're a band. And the problem is neither of us are particularly familiar with how to set up social media, so we kind of need a social media assistant, consultant.
Right.
So like an internship, I guess. So what we decided to do is give you guys some incentive and set up a contest. So, Nick, if you would like to explain what the contest is.
I'd be happy to. I'm pretty stoked about this.
Yeah, I know.
Well, so this contest of ours, our plan is we have people, I don't know, maybe give us their resumes if they've had technical experience.
Yeah, definitely.
If they've, made social media pages in the past, whether it's a Twitter, an Instagram, I guess a Snapchat. I don't know what that fucking is, but I guess that. But all those types of things, just proof that they can represent us on a internet page.
Yeah.
And if whoever basically convinces us the best, has the best resume, has the best would we do an interview?
Shit, I totally didn't even think about that. Yeah, I guess I was thinking that we just take the first person responded, but I guess if we have a lot of applicants, we should probably do an interview.
Would it be an in-person interview or like a Facebook chat interview?
I don't really know how Facebook chat works, so we would probably want to do an in-person interview.
Or by text, maybe.
Wait, is Facebook chat,
It's like texting.
That's where you can talk to people, right?
Yeah, it's like texting, but on Facebook.
I do know how Facebook chat works.
Yeah,
I just didn't realize it was called that, so we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess whatever works best for the contestants. But anyways, you guys don't care about the specifics of that. Setting all that shit up is our issue. What you guys got to think about is the prize, which is, Drew?
The prize is that we will make a song and your name will be the title. And in terms of the song, that's about it. We're going to do what we want with it creatively, and you can trust in us. We're the Blinkety Bloop boys. We know what we're doing. We've been doing it a while, but in order to incentivize you properly, we are going to have the song advertised on the brand new social media pages you make for us. And that'll be the only thing we advertise really for a week. That'll be what we focus on. So,
pretty good deal, right?
Yeah. I'd say it's a really good deal. It's almost too much, but it's good.
I mean, it's not like we're at that stage of a band yet where we can say submit to this contest and then some secretary way below us will give you a little certificate saying you won. We can go out and interact with our fans. We shouldn't see ourselves as above them.
But I'm not saying we are above them, but we are a great band. It doesn't matter what success we've had. We are there. You have to be there in the mental space. We are that band. And, we shouldn't be bothering with this stuff. We have to. But it's fair. It's fine.
It's
the way
fun.
we worked it out.
It's fun. Don't you think, like, getting our audience involved, like, it's an interactive experience, It could evolve our music. Who knows?
Yeah, but you don't see other bands getting their audience to make music with them.
But we could be different.
But that wouldn't be... that wouldn't be good.
How do you know?
I guess I don't know, but I have a very good feeling. Are you serious? Okay, I can see where you're coming from a very broad perspective, I guess. But I don't know. Why don't we just start with this and we'll see. We're not making any promises that if you win the contest, you get to be in the band. Okay, I just want to make that clear. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that was never what I was saying.
Yeah.
I want that to be clear. I'm not saying, like, we're going to make you the lead singer, the, like, lead guitarist. That's not what we're offering.
No. But we
do want to give you something.
Yeah, and I think it's a pretty good deal. You're going to get a song named after you and a whole week of advertising.
Exactly.
We could have been using that time to promote things we're working on, concerts, anything like that. We'll be talking about your song. So that's pretty good. And, you'll be directly associated with the Blinkety Bloop Boys, the band Blinkety Bloop. I think that that's something anyone would want.
You can tell all your friends and family. You can basically say that was your 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. So please submit.
Message us on Facebook. Maybe
message. I don't want
message me.
Yeah, I'm not
Drew's
comfortable with that.
Okay, I am more than comfortable taking whatever strangers have to throw at me. Maybe don't troll me or whatever the kids are calling it these days. But send me your honest, like resumes. Just tell me your experience and why you feel you'd be good as the social media representative of the Blinkety Bloop Boys.
Yeah. Okay, well, now that's taken care of our Blinkety Bloop business, we can get into the other Blinkety Bloop business.
Which,
the other Blinkety Bloop.
Movies.
Yeah. So, we both saw Tomb Raider.
We did.
What did you think of Tomb Raider?
I am a big gamer, so I went into this knowing in the Tomb Raider franchise, which was originally a video game series. And so I went in knowing all this extra stuff, and then seeing it unfold in front of me left a bit to be desired.
I have no opinion on the games because I don't know them and I haven't played them really. I'm just judging this as a movie. And
right.
I have also not seen any of the other Tomb Raider movies.
I have. Like a lot of video game film adaptations, they do not live up to the source material. More often than not, when people make a video game adaptation, they're looking for a quick cash grab, and they churn this shit out with the same characters, but, like, way more boring. And it shits on the fans, and it shits on the franchise, and no one's really happy with it.
And here's the thing I remember because we were eating, and I was curious. I looked up all the film adaptations of video game movies, and I went, there has to be a good one. Mm. And so I'm going by Rotten Tomato scores, which is a little crude, but it's a way to do it, basically.
It's a measurement.
Yeah. So I go through, expecting there's got to be at least one good one. No. In terms of the theatrical releases, they all have pretty bad scores, but guess what? This movie is now the best reviewed film adaptation of a video game out there.
Yeah.
And it's not that well reviewed. It's like, what, at 50% maybe? Probably less?
Yeah, like, I think the last time I checked it was around 48%.
Yeah. So, I mean, none of that really matters because they should push this in advertising as the best reviewed video game adaptation of all time.
Don't mention that it's only 48%. But if you say the best, you aren't technically lying.
So I'm curious, what about this movie disappointed you as somebody that gamed those games?
Okay, so some background for folks who aren't aware. Tomb Raider it's always been basically about this character Lara Croft, who she fucking raids tombs. It's not that complicated.
Shit, really?
Yeah, you wouldn't expect. It's basically Indiana Jones, but when the games happened, like that wasn't a very like used genre. So like adventure games where you're climbing on jungle vines, swinging around, shooting bad guys.
Sorry. You didn't say Lara Croft, Vine Swinger.
Well, she does a number of things besides raid tombs.
I expect all actions to be reflected in the title.
As soon as you raid the tomb, you're just on the next level. Like, all right, I'm going to open this crypt and level over and open this one, game over.
Proper title would be Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Vine Swinger. Also a gun shooter.
Yep.
And she runs a lot.
She also runs.
She jumps. Lara Croft, jumper lady.
Sometimes talking.
Lara Croft, good conversationalist.
The Angelina Jolie movies that came up before this, there were two of them. They were both meh. They were based on the old Tomb Raider games from back in the 90s and early 2000s. And more recently, this new remake to try and reboot the series and be like, hey, Tomb Raider isn't just this like woman with like bodacious curves and latex. She's like a powerful woman who doesn't need sex appeal. She has like power and authority and like true bravery, and that's reflected in the video games also, because the more recent remakes of the games, she wasn't a sex symbol, she was her own person.
Well, what made her a sex symbol in the old games?
Big old pixely boobies.
That's it? Just because she had
a big
giant...
pixely ass. I mean,
what about that was sexual necessarily? I mean, they're just body parts.
Yeah, but like it was like a she was wearing very revealing clothing, like booty shorts, basically.
But didn't she do a bunch of action? Like, wasn't that the focus?
Yes, but
people fixated on other things.
Objectified the shit out of her.
Well, do you think that's the game's fault? Because was it a simple game that didn't bother with much of a narrative? Because I think if it was that, then it would be easier for people to just go, boobs!
I mean, I think the game designers, when they first made the character and how she was set up, knew from the start, like, let's make these big bosoms to get the fellas interested, because otherwise how are you gonna, like, why would a gamer dude want to play a game with like a normal looking woman? Like these guys were thinking on like a dude level.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that was reflected in the movies, because Angelina Jolie was always in very wet clothing with very tight outfits that accentuated her form.
Didn't you say it was latex?
It kind of looked like it, but it was shiny and kind of metallic looking.
Okay.
And very form-fitting.
So definitely not anything close to what Lara Croft was wearing in this movie.
Yeah, nothing practical. What it was, like, all this stuff, like, it didn't make her, like, a better Tomb Raider. It was just, like, there for the looks.
Okay. Now, the new games, you're saying that they had more story,
more narrative, more character. You get to really get inside the head of Lara Croft and how she came to be who she was. And that was like her dad basically being an archaeologist, and like I don't remember exactly, it's been a while since I played the first Tomb Raider remake back in like 2014, but it was basically she goes to these far off places because her father kind of wanted her to, and he like died on one of his expeditions, and she's doing this kind of in memory of him, but then she ends up stumbling upon terrorists and like dudes with very violent intentions that want to steal these magical treasures and use them like their potential magic powers to make the world a worse place. So it doesn't initially have supernatural elements in it, but toward the end of almost every game, you see magic shit start to happen, and you're like, oh shit, it's not just shooting bad guys, there's fucking ghosts.
Okay. So, That does sound more interesting in terms of a game. It sounds like they took what was already great about the original games and they added even more to it.
Yeah.
Cool. So this relates to today's movie because today's movie was based off the newer games. And I am curious because the newer version of Lara Croft games came out after the older movies of Lara Croft. So
Yep.
what exactly happened in the older Lara Croft movies if there was less going on? Did they just make up a bunch of narratives since the games had none?
Yeah. It wasn't linked to the games at all. It was just like, Tomb Raider and the Cradle of Life. It's been a while since I watched them, and I remember as a kid, I'm like, she's cute, but now I'm just like, she's a sexual object, and I don't appreciate that. But it didn't stick out in my mind because it just felt like hobbled together pseudo Indiana Jones adventuring, stealing artifacts stories.
Okay. But you're saying that this new movie did not do the new games justice?
No, but it definitely did better than the older movies.
I definitely was not really that into the first hour.
It was just like setting her up as like, I'm a hip modern girl in a modern world and I work for Grubhub. Yeah, it was basically Grubhub.
That was the weirdest part of the movie is when they sang that song.
Yeah, it was so out of place.
That was the only lyric. They just, for 4 minutes, like, I get it, you work at Grubhub! What the fuck is happening?
And there was never another song except the one time where the terrorist leader was like, can I have a pizza, please?
And I also work at Grubhub.
Just like, we both work at Grubhub. That's crazy. What a coincidence. I have to kill you now.
There can only be one Grubhub delivery boy.
It was just setting her up as a character, which is important, but you could have done that way faster. They could have gotten this out of the way in like a 5-minute montage.
Well, how did the games do it? How did the games set her up? Did they just do it very quickly?
Basically, in the beginning of the game, she's like hanging out in her dad's mansion, and it's just like, again, it's been a while, but it's basically like, hey, your dad died or whatever, he wanted you to go here, here's a recording of him saying all that shit, and she just fucking goes.
So she just jumps into it. The thing is, this movie sounds like it added something. It developed her more as a city girl. Are you saying that doesn't seem necessary, or are you saying it's good, but do it quicker?
In the game, her characterization came through in her dialogue. You didn't need to see her do all these things and say all these things. Like, she drops these hints in the game about her lifestyle back home in London.
Yeah, and that's good. I'm glad the game did that because it's hard to say this because I wasn't there writing it, but it feels like the movie could have been done. You just chop off the hour, jump in like the game did, like, your father is doing this shit. Can you do it too? She's like, okay! And then you gradually figure out who she is during the adventure.
Right.
Instead of going like, hey, you want to see me drip paint with my bike? I'm like, no!
Like, what the fuck? Why?
Lara Croft, paint rider. So, back to the game.
Okay.
What else was missing from the movie that the game had, if anything?
It didn't have, like, the games had a few different antagonists. You could see where they were coming from in their, like, fight to get these artifacts, but it was, they still did worse shit than Lara, so you still want to see Lara win.
Okay.
And also, it had more protagonists. Like, in this, it was just Lara, her buddy with the boat who's drunk.
We should point out that there are a lot of Asians in this movie, because I heard some critic go, it's obvious they put all these Chinese people in here to appeal to the Chinese market. And I went, okay, well, that's an interesting theory, but all the Chinese people in it were, like, mostly slaves.
So it wouldn't make them want to, like, I love seeing my people in chains.
Yeah. So that was a little bit iffy. I was wondering how this company got away with just having a bunch of regular old Chinese folk as slaves. But, I think that there's a lot of slavery in the world that we just don't think about.
Yeah.
And Tomb Raider finally let us know about it. Tomb Raider is the movie to watch if you want to know more about slavery. I enjoyed the movie. I did.
I enjoyed the last half.
I recommend coming in halfway through.
Yes,
Because
all the other shit isn't important except knowing that her dad supposedly is dead.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it was a great movie, but I just had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. I mean, the characters, like, that's good guy, that's bad guy, that's good guy's father. and like, oh,
good job, Drew.
Hope good guy doesn't get bullets. And then there was just a really... I liked... It was a little abrasive, but the mythological element was really cool.
It did work. Yeah. I mean, it felt like the games, because they bring supernatural elements in a kind of scientific way, and they made it scientific in the movie, kind of.
Anyway, I don't know. I guess that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'd say we about covered all our important points. Wait.
Huh!
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Oh, shit!
We almost forgot the most important part of the
Okay.
I'll let Drew set it up.
Thanks. So, I generally liked the movie, but I can't say that it was really a funny movie. There really were not any jokes.
Yeah.
But there was one joke that happened. And basically, what happened is they just all evaded having the floor collapse beneath them, and they all survived. And there was a henchman that couldn't see any of this, and when he was finally able to see what had happened, he went, "Where's the floor?" And everyone laughed. And my thought was, why does he get to have the funniest line? Because this henchman wasn't important. No. He was just some henchman, and he had some pretty questionable allegiance because he was working for the bad guy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, what gives this fuck the right to make us all chuckle? I, petitioned the chuckling. No, I shall not laugh. But we kept making jokes throughout the movie that, where's the floor guy would keep going, where's the floor?
And then canned laughter comes in.
Even though there were never any instances where the floor disappeared again.
There was always floor there, but... and also he died, a scene later. So, he had that, hilarious line. And just oh, is he going to be the comic relief? Oh, no, he's dead.
Yeah,
he's
that was
dead.
it.
Yep.
He was just, where's the floor guy?
And that's what he should have been credited as.
Where's the floor guy? May he rest in peace. May he rest under the ground.
That got blown up.
And may he wake up and go, there's the floor, 6 feet above me.
The floor's been there all along. What you were looking for was right under your nose.
May he rise to heaven where there are no floors and constantly
His
go...
worst nightmare. I'd rather be in hell where there's floors.
Well, no, we can make this a beautiful thing because he goes to heaven and goes, where's the floor? And then Peter says unto him, there are no floors, my child. And the henchman weeps and goes, I'm home. And he goes to meet Jesus.
And Jesus is like, where's the floor?
Well, hold on. Let me pitch this for you, okay?
Yep.
Where's the floor guy? He goes to heaven, has that beautiful moment.
Okay.
And then he's chatting with God. And then Peter, whatever the fuck, I don't know heaven well.
Saint Peter.
Yeah, he goes up and is like, oh shit, wait a minute, I just looked at your file. You were a bad guy. But where's the floor guy? He's like, no, I love heaven, this is great. And God goes, well, okay, there's only one way we can fix this. You gotta go down, and you gotta go rescue some people from slavery. So where's the floor guy? He's going around, and he's going, where's the slaves?
Would that be the title of the movie?
Yeah. Where's the slaves? And he's just finding the slaves and he's freeing them. I'm glad we spent such an enormous chunk of time.
We need to move on. I know.
Hey, Nick, you know what?
What?
Here's the thing about Red Sparrow. I don't usually think this with movies, even if I don't like them. But with Red Sparrow, I was just thinking, what did they see in this? Why did they make it? I really didn't understand.
It had a very strange mix of potential demographics.
It's a story about a Russian spy that decides to side with the Americans, and the story just felt really plain to me. And usually a story can be boring, but I'll think, well, there's a high concept here that makes it really interesting. And I think the most high concept part of the movie was the brief part that I wish was basically the whole movie, where they're training people that have basically been forced against their will, I assume, in most cases, in a school where they want to make them these tough, hard-as-nail spies that trick people using the powers of seduction. Easily, I think that was the most interesting idea in this movie, and I thought that they were kind of going to go for something like that. But then the school part ended, and I went, okay, well, maybe the movie will be about this spy applying that stuff to a bunch of different people, and that'll be really interesting. It'll be a movie about, learning what people's tics are and using their tics against them. That seems like a high concept.
Yeah.
But instead, basically immediately, her first target that she has an assignment for, she winds up, not fucking with him, and then she just teams up with him to get out.
Immediately. There's no...
Yeah.
There's no, intermediary, mission where she seduces an ugly troll man successfully and gets secrets out of him. She's right to the hot dude who she falls in love with, and that's the rest of the fucking movie.
And I guess that the fact that she has this conflict between she works for the Russians, but she's secretly with the Americans, I guess there was some conflict there.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem like enough of a conflict to base an entire movie off of, and that's really... That felt like that was the main conflict. There's a Russian spy, but she wants to work with the Americans, and I went, who wants to see that? It just didn't seem like an interesting gimmick. Go with the angle where she's seducing people and then killing them.
Right.
That's extremely interesting. But they just, I don't know, they didn't go in that direction. And honestly, this is what I thought would have been a great twist. Mm-hmm. Because basically, immediately, she sides with the Americans in the hopes that she can get saved and get out of this shitty situation where she's forced to be a Russian spy.
Yeah.
And she's working with this American, which is a target, but, a very useful person because of his position. What I thought would have been a great twist is this whole time you have this push and pull where, the Russians are getting suspicious and she's trying to still work with the American. It would have been really great if at the end of the movie she wound up fucking over the American. Because this whole time she had been secretly finding the American's weak spots and seducing him. Uh-huh. Even if it wasn't through seduction, that would have been an amazing twist.
It would be.
That this whole time she was actually applying the things she learned in school, that she wasn't weak or trying to change sides at all. But that didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
There was one moment where I thought, oh shit, it was probably the second most interesting scene where the American is being tortured by a Russian that is a coworker, you could say, to Jennifer Lawrence's spy character. And in order to sell the act, you see Jennifer Lawrence participating in that torture of the American. And I actually, for a second, thought maybe she's actually still on the side of the Russians. But
she
no.
committed to it for a bit.
She did, but it didn't last.
It seemed like a short amount of time to be like, I don't know what she was waiting for, why she even started to skin him.
She was waiting for him to get distracted from the torture himself so she would have an opportune time to attack him.
Yeah.
That made sense to me, but I just wish it had that twist. I think it would have been a really bad idea because I already think the movie is for nobody, but having a movie where...
Against America.
It's a good thing the Russians won. I think this would be a very inappropriate time for a movie like that. I will say, though, we did get a twist at the end of this movie.
With the uncle?
Yeah, I was talking about it, though. It was not a good twist, and here's why. I didn't see it coming at all, and I feel like you didn't either.
No.
But the problem was a good twist. You don't see it coming, but when it happens, you're really happy it happened because you want it.
Right.
You like what it does for the story. This twist, you didn't want it. Basically, the whole time she was framing her uncle as being the secret mole, and so her uncle wound up getting fucked over. And it was satisfying in the sense that it was her uncle that basically tricked her into having to be a spy in the first place.
Yeah.
So that was nice. There was some retribution there. But it wasn't something you felt you wanted. Because, honestly, at that point, I knew what twist I wanted. And if I wasn't going to get that twist, I just wanted her to be free from what she was working on. I mean, the uncle was not a great guy for doing what he did. I don't think the movie spent enough time showing how much of a scumbag he was, because I didn't find myself feeling like she's got to get revenge on this uncle. There were a lot of instances where the uncle was supporting her and was saying, give her another chance. I know you're suspicious of her, but she's my niece, so, don't kill her. So I didn't, I was too, I don't want to say sympathetic toward the uncle, but I didn't necessarily want him to die.
He did watch her get raped, though.
Wait, what? Am I blanking?
Remember that first mission he sent her on that was, like, kind of supposed to be seduction, but it was before she got sent to the school?
Oh, that's right.
The guy,
and ripped her. I agree. That was bad, and at that point in the movie, I'm like, oh, what a bad guy. But then they had multiple scenes afterward where he was supporting her.
But only because... I think only because if he didn't support her, they'd have him killed, too.
Well, that was not clear to me at all. It didn't seem like it was ever any skin off his back. It seemed like he could easily say, I'll just kill her, and then that'd be it, and he'd be fine. And that seemed like the smart move for him to do.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was putting himself in more danger by supporting her.
I didn't understand his, drive entirely.
I assumed it was because she was his niece, and it was a familial drive.
But he was also sexually attracted to her.
Was he?
Yeah, he got really close, creepily close, and there was no benefit of doing
this. That's right. There's that moment where she kissed him. But, okay, even if it's a romantic motivation, that still doesn't change the fact that, he's helping her. And plus, the romantic motivation you did not get until, toward the very end of the movie. Yeah. And the problem is, Jennifer Lawrence initiated it. And he was a little uncomfortable with it. And, you could tell he liked it a little bit, but it would have played way more differently if the uncle had initiated the kiss. Yeah. They didn't do nearly enough of a job making the uncle out to seem like the shitty person you want there to be retribution for. And I imagine the reason for that is so they could have a good twist that you didn't see coming. And it's true, I didn't see it coming, but then I didn't care for it.
No.
But the movie itself, I guess there were certain tiny things I enjoyed. I liked the school part. There were things that I felt the movie should be and were not. But for what the movie actually was, I'd say there were, 2 scenes worth watching.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I got pretty tired watching it. I was like, how long is this fucking movie?
Yeah. I do have a great story about my movie-going experience, though.
Okay.
Unless you had anything else you wanted to add.
One more thing. When I was watching the trailers, I got the feeling it was taking place during the Cold War. I'm like, oh, they'll explore American-Russian relations back then and the uncomfortable relationship they had. And while that's true now, it was more true back then, and exploring that dynamic would be interesting. But then I see a fucking smartphone come out, and I'm like, oh, present day. I don't give a shit about this.
Yeah. Well, speaking of trailers.
Yeah.
I was watching some trailers.
Yeah.
And I saw this as a matinee. I usually see matinees, and often I'm seeing a movie where I'm mostly alone.
Right.
But what I forgot is that this was the latest Jennifer Lawrence pick. So this is something the old people are definitely going to want to watch.
Why did old people care about Jennifer Lawrence?
Because she's a movie star and she's famous and they know her and they don't know a lot of things, so that's the movie they want to see.
Yeah, I guess.
So they went in there and they're just a bunch of old people, and I go, uh-oh. And this is the breed of old people where they just don't give a fuck about anyone anymore, so they say their opinions loudly. So I'm watching the trailers and they're going, oh, I think that movie already came out, didn't it? That was a trailer for Tomb Raider. Like, yeah, it did already come out. Shut the fuck up. And there's another trailer, and like, oh, man, I think I'd like to see that. I think Harold would be very interested. I don't like paraphrasing. These are things that actually happened.
I'd believe it.
And there was one movie trailer where I heard one old lady say, there's another one of those movies. The movie that she was saying that to was a gay romance movie.
Another homosexual film.
It was the movie Love, Simon.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. As soon as that trailer started playing, I was waiting for it. I'm like, one of these old fucks is going to say out loud something super homophobic.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it finished, one of those movies again. I'm like, thanks, Alma. It was just amazing, though, because I'm like, wow, exactly as I predicted.
Thanks, old people.
I didn't miss a beat. Homophobic right on cue.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most entertaining part of Red Sparrow to me, was the part where an old lady didn't like gay people.
Yeah. My theater going experience, if you can believe it, had a similar old person situation.
Are you shitting me?
I'm not. This is honest, 100% true. But it was not as fun. It was more tense and terrifying than anything. I was sitting in the second row because the third row was occupied by this old man with a bunch of, like, apparatuses, like, coughing loudly.
Okay.
And so I sit in front of him a few rows to the side so I can't, like, hear him coughing too much. But then I hear him, like, muttering lines that, like, the trailers are saying, like, I'm tired of being a closeted gay. Like, hey, closeted gay. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I look back a little bit, but I don't want him to see me. And then, like, the movie starts. It's like, we have to find the mole. He's like, the mole. I'm just like, oh, fuck. I'm gonna fucking hate this. And I hear him coughing, and, like, I hear, like, really loud farts coming from him. I'm just like tense. I'm like, is he gonna start throwing up, or is he gonna try and grab me and be like, hello? Like, just grab me with this wrinkly old hand, like, young man, where am I? And I'm just like, did he just stay in the theater from the last movie? Because he actually said the mole before they said the mole in the movie.
Oh shit.
So I think he just sat in the theater and none of the theater attendants caught him sitting there. And then finally, like, maybe 20, 30 minutes into the movie, I hear him get up and I hear louder farts. So I think the reason he got up was he shit himself. And he had to leave the theater like, and it was just the most uncomfortable. And besides that, he also kept shining like a little flashlight at the screen and around the theater. I'm like, can someone please report it? But, like, it was a bunch of like maybe stoned people who weren't paying attention, and I was the only one who was like, this is really fucking distracting, and I'm really terrified of this old man. And then he just left shitting his pants, and then I was bored for the rest of the fucking movie.
And you were thinking, come back, shit pants man. Like,
shit pants cough McMutters.
Please, Red Sparrow's so boring without you. Come shit your pants right in front of me.
I don't care if you just, like, say, I'm Jennifer Lawrence.
I'll even change your diaper, please, anything. Just to avoid this fucking movie.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad we both had weird, fucked up old people experiences in separate theaters.
Yeah. And they were both the most exciting part of the movie.
Exactly, 100%.
Well, we did have a genuinely good movie-going experience.
In the bunch, yep.
With Thoroughbreds! Yeah, Thoroughbreds!
Anton Yelchin's last film. Before he died.
Yeah! He was great in the movie.
He was great.
The movie really had, like, I'd say about 3 main characters.
Yeah.
They were all really good. It was a super simple movie. I imagine it was simple to film because it really had one main location. Mm-hmm. But I think it's my favorite movie to come out of 2018 so far.
I'd say so, too.
It's actually a 2017 movie. I know.
Fuck.
I know, I'm sorry.
That changes everything.
That's what happens.
Shit.
That's what happens. But I'm glad I saw it. I really liked it. It was really driven to me by these 2 characters that had a wonderful dynamic. You had one, that had some sort of disorder where she basically didn't feel anything. And to me, I thought that was incredibly appealing.
Yeah.
And the actress that played that character, it seems like it'd be an easy role because, oh, you don't have to feel anything. And I'm sure in some instances it was, but I feel like it's definitely challenging sometimes to convey something without emotion. It was really interesting. One of the most interesting parts to me was when she came up at one point gasping for air. And I don't know if anyone thought about that, but it was weird because I'm thinking, gasping for air inherently seems emotional.
Yeah.
But it's an emotionless person. And wow, I guess gasping isn't emotional. I had to kind of rethink it because I had so much faith in the actress and her performance that I went, well, I mean, that gasping has to be right, so I guess I'm just thinking about gasping incorrectly. So that was really interesting.
Yeah.
The other character, they kind of marketed it as one feels nothing and one feels everything. But that wasn't necessarily true. The other one felt emotions, but not all the emotions. It's not like she was crying all the time or anything like that. The reason these characters worked together, though, even though they weren't stark opposites like the trailer would make it out to be, is that one girl needed things in her life. She wanted to be emotional about certain things she felt she couldn't be emotional about, and also she wanted to not care about certain things that she felt she had to care about. And with this friend that feels nothing, she can just do all of that, and the friend isn't going to care at all. And with the friend that feels nothing, she just needs a friend because it's hard for her to make friends. So they complement each other really well. It makes sense that they're together, and it's a lot of fun. What I was not expecting to happen with these characters is that they sort of, I don't want to say reversed, but it was really interesting at the ending, and it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around it. But essentially, you had the emotionless person, and she wound up vaguely beginning to learn how to have emotion. And then you had the other character who was feeling all these things. She wound up being a character that was almost learning to not feel anything. It's like they almost adopted each other's personalities and kind of like wore it as a mask. And with the emotionless character, you were feeling, okay, that's good. That's a positive change. But with the character that feels emotions, you were feeling, oh, that's not good. And specifically, the reason it wasn't good is because essentially that character murdered somebody and blamed the emotionless girl. I just found it fascinating how the two of them influenced each other.
Yeah.
I guess if you think about it, it's saying that having no emotions is a bad thing. Though personally, I thought it was fun. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I suppose it is probably a bad thing, though. Not an inherently evil thing, as the emotionless girl pointed out, but it makes it more difficult to be a good person.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, you have the emotionless girl. She wrote a letter to the emotion girl, and the emotion girl essentially said, I didn't read it. And that's where the movie ended. So you can tell that that was a very important moment, that the writer was trying to really convey something there. And I don't think it was just trying to convey that emotion girl totally doesn't have emotions anymore and doesn't care about emotionless girl.
I didn't take it.
Because emotionless girl still cared, I guess, in whatever sense of the word you can have for that, for an emotion girl. I think it was sort of ambiguous. Because I guess it was saying regardless of whether or not she read the letter, their friendship almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's what they did to each other that wound up mattering.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, I mean, if you think about it, they were using each other the whole time. There was never really a friendship there, and I think that last line is just that punch going like, ha! You liked them together and thought they were friends? They never were.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
It's probably true.
Yeah. They're both after something.
So it was a fascinating movie in that it explored a non-friendship that you were super into.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it was a really simple, gripping premise, but those two characters, they held it together for me.
Fascinating, yeah.
and they were very thoroughly bred. But that concludes our chit chat. Remember the contest?
Yeah, I want to see my mailbox. Wait, it's not a mailbox. It's an inbox. Fill up with potential contestants.
And
send them my way.
I hope we get a whole lot of people. I think we have the potential to get a whole lot of people. Anyway, also, remember Fissure Mist Media. They are our proud sponsor. They will take care of all your audio needs. If you've got a movie and you need some audio stuff done for it, come on down to Fissure Mist Media. They will take care of any audio thing you need done for your movies. Also, they do other audio like music and podcasts and stuff like that. So Fissure Mist Media, your place for audio. And, hopefully next time we speak, we're going to have
a social media representative.
And social media, too.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
But until then, Blinkety Bloop Boys out.
Ow!